Hi, I'm Rachel Ann Goodman, professor of journalism at Cabrillo College. And every semester, students in my Writing for the Broadcast Media class come up with a topic they want to share with you. Today, to moderate this panel on the health of students, is Chanel Escobar.
I'm Chanel, your moderator. Today on this show, we're going to talk about the physical and mental health of Cabrillo students. Staying healthy while studying and working 2 jobs isn't always easy. In fact, it could be grueling at times, which is exactly why health on the inside is of utmost importance to sustain. If students are the workforce of tomorrow, how are they faring under the stresses that college can bring physically, psychologically, and financially? Are sleep disorders, eating unhealthy food, and mental health problems hindering some students in reaching their goals? Which came first, academic stress or poor health? Are there enough resources on campus to help students who struggle with physical or mental health issues? We'll hear from students about their diets, sleep habits, and awareness of what kind of help is available should they run into real trouble. Plus, we'll provide resources for achieving better health so you can perform at your best, because after all, health is connected to student success. First, let's go to a short commentary about mental health, followed by a Cabrillo mental health expert.
What you call closed and private, I call openly minded and curious for answers. Growing up, I never really understood what being happy all the time felt like. And it's probably because I never really had the opportunity and motivation for it. Early ages of myself, teachers used to think I was special and slow with learning because of the homework that was uncompleted and yet turned in. But honestly, I think that it was all just from the thoughts that was going on inside my head. My mom used to think that my brain was just crazy imaginative, and that can be a bad thing sometimes because you can think things in an off mental state. Honestly, I think the brain I have is labeled depressed and sometimes stressed, but I didn't know those big words as a kid, and since I was labeled special, I didn't think I wanted to. I finally grew up though, 6 years to be exact. Being 14 was tougher for me as well, since I was still learning things. Fortunately, I understood the vocab words, and my dyslexia grew off of me. Nostalgia hadn't begun for me yet, though. It's time for school, love. Are you ready to go? I look at my mom, who had just asked the most tiring question. She doesn't understand why I hate school. She doesn't know yet as to why I'm hurting from the insides. Yeah, I blink at her swollen as my eyes feel sunken in, but also tucked out from not catching up on sleep. I think she tries. I hope she tries. My mom pulls up to the back of the school, where the gym is shown clear enough as to where we hold our girls' basketball games. She gives me a kiss and wishes me good luck on my last day, and hopes to see better in me from today. I am now 14 and attending freshman year at SoCal High. This is where the beginning of a trigger begins. This is where I choose to cry. This is where my pain and insides begin to mix, and I swell up and beat myself to death with my thoughts and actions. The boys I dated, the feelings I had, the mistakes I've made, the thinking I thought, and the sweat I pulled from my veins. It's all shown publicly and unrestricted. I flooded with the words, help me, but also kick me, because every person I talked to made me feel like a bitch, which gave me the solutions of never eating during school and only caring about my friends' relevant drama. Then it hit me. January 5th, 2015. I have saved the date for a slow-motioned crisis. Everything felt like an emergency, but when I ran to the car with the map, hospital, I was heavy and drowsy. I had purposely hit my brain hard on the concrete. I was there. My mom was there. If only you could see her face. My action of using self-harm relates to an issue of the world. This issue is called suicide, and should be taken seriously because it's one thing to come to court and discuss an illegal murder, but on yourself? The only court you will see is in the bathroom mirror. Judge yourself. Define yourself. Give yourself the outlook on how many followers you have on Instagram. I put guilt and shame towards myself about almost every day just from January 5th. But you shouldn't let that stop you. Would you say the words you say to yourself onto others? Is that what makes the world go around? This number never goes to voicemail. 1-800-273-8255.
So my name's Marcy Meyer, and I'm a nurse practitioner, and I work in the health center taking care of students. Right, so what we do here, anybody who's a student pays a $19, it's going up to $20 in the spring, student health fee for the semester, and that gets some services into the health center, which include physical and mental health. So they do have opportunity to have an appointment with one of the 5 or 6 counselors that we have on staff. A lot of, especially community college students who are trying, a lot of them have families and to support and kids, and they're a little bit older sometimes. They don't get to live on campus, so they have to have housing, so a lot of them have to work and try to go to school at the same time, and so it causes a lot of anxiety and stuff like that. So it is a little bit different than, although there's anxiety probably at any college.
Yeah. Can you give any tips to students to keep themselves, a little bit more fit mentally, physically? Would you suggest that students, go to the gym?
Well, I mean, they have kinesiology classes, and then there's the wellness center just around the corner that is really inexpensive for students, and it's always good to exercise, of course, and mental health, meditation, yoga, which is both mental and physical, taking a walk in the park, things like that.
That was a commentary by Alicia Broussard. This is Alicia Broussard. This is Saya Bolda and Andy Sheehan. We'll be discussing mental health issues and physical health issues among Cabrillo students.
Based on our 2016's headcount from Cabrillo, we had 13,295 students, which gives us a thought as to if they are finding the right resources for mental health. In Santa Cruz, we only have 2 to 3 organizations that are willing to help for mental health, and with only 5 to 6 legalized therapists and psychiatrists and doctors, we can only go so far. I believe that during my freshman year in SoCal High, I was diagnosed with depression and anxiety, and I remember coming out of the mental hospital and telling my mom, like, hey, I'm ready to go and find a psychiatrist. And the way I did that is my mom had to drive me all the way down to San Jose. It's crazy for just to go so far for something that could be easily fixed if it was just down here,
Yes. Sounds like we could have a lot more resources in our area.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I found some resources right on campus at Cabrillo when I was facing a little anxiety from my coursework and my personal life, things getting a little chaotic, and so I went into the student health office and found that students can receive 6 counseling sessions free of charge for each semester, I believe it is, and I've taken advantage of the counseling, so it's good to know there are resources right on campus for anyone who pays the student health fee to be able to take advantage of. And there's a nurse there too who can assess if there's some kind of physical problem going on.
Is that how you cope with stress as a student?
Well, I mean, it ties in with how much physical exercise I get. I don't get a lot of physical exercise, but being a student at Cabrillo does allow you to work out at the wellness center, go to the pool, and I am a member of both. And so, yeah, I have the tools to take care of some of my mental and physical challenges, and I'm trying to take advantage of everything that Cabrillo offers.
Do you know of any good resources that you could recommend?
I think that Cabrillo offers some really good resources, some that I wasn't actually aware about until we started researching this. I didn't know that we could use the gym free of charge, even if you're registered only for one class. You are free to use the gym, the pool, all the resources they have available to you. I think it's important just to reach out and look for those resources because, like I said, I didn't even know that they were available to me.
It's really important to have resources. In colleges in America, suicide is the number 3 reason for student deaths.
It's also from like depression's actually becoming more and more advanced, and by the time it's 2030, Huffington's Post believes that it'll be outstretched as the number 1 source of people ending their lives, which like that takes overall from like cancer and other diseases. So it's
Yeah, it makes you wonder if college stress so overwhelming, people's inner health depletes, their physical health depletes, their mental health depletes, and they end up dropping out altogether.
Yeah, if I could just elaborate on that a little bit too. When I was a freshman in college 37 years ago, I was 17 years old. My mother had passed away in my first semester, and I wasn't prepared. I wasn't mentally prepared to take on a full school schedule plus have to go through that, and consequently I dropped out of school. And 37 years later, now a student at Cabrillo, actually, believe it or not, those units I did not get then are affecting, slowing down my education now. So something that happens as a freshman can really affect you the rest of your life, so it's good to address a problem when it comes up.
It can. Has money ever been a big problem with being able to get help, like before you were ever a student at Cabrillo and didn't have that resource? Not being
no,
able to afford.
Not so much. Not having money to eat properly and such, but usually this counseling available on a sliding scale to just about anybody in any kind of financial situation. If you look into all the resources locally, there'll be a sliding scale available, and just about anyone can afford counseling.
Next, we are going to hear a commentary by Carla, and we are going to hear it now.
It was the fall of 2009. I was 15 years old and a sophomore in high school. I was that kid in the hallways that always had a smile on their face. Although I seemed like the happiest kid ever, I felt the opposite inside. My parents started arguing more and more, and I felt like it was my fault. I'd come home from a long day of school wanting to give up on everything. I'd go into the kitchen while my parents were upstairs and grab a knife from the cabinet and put it over the flame on the stove, and then I'd put the burning knife on my wrists as I cried my eyes out. In that moment, I no longer wanted to exist. I continued that method of masking my pain by inflicting pain upon myself for a few years after that. Some friends found out, and they would constantly check my arms to make sure I wasn't self-harming. I started going to a youth group which helped me stop harming myself. It has now been 6 years of a constant battle with my inner demons, but I no longer feel the need to not exist. I still feel somewhat awkward talking about mental health and depression. I have never been diagnosed by a professional, so I feel like I don't have the right to speak about mental health, but especially with all that is going on in the world and with the suicide rates going up every year, I feel like I need to speak out about this and show people that you can get through it and you will be okay. I didn't think I would ever attend a youth group, but it honestly saved my life. I want people to know that they are worthy and wonderfully made. It's hard to think about that when you're in that dark place, but remember, we're not alone and we can get help and can get better. Don't ever be afraid to call 1-800-273-8255 for help. If you're ever feeling lonely, remember this verse that my youth leader once said to me that helps me through tough times. Never will I leave you, nor will I forsake you.
That was a commentary by Carla, a Cabrillo College student who suffered from severe depression.
Yeah, I think a lot of students can relate to what she was talking about. I know a lot of my friends, they have never actually been diagnosed, but they do have thoughts like that, and they feel like their emotions are not valid because they haven't seen a doctor. And actually, according to the National Alliance on Mental Illness, 1 in 4 students has a diagnosable illness, whether that be depression or anxiety, and whether or not those are actually diagnosed by a doctor or not. and 40% of those people do not seek help. So it's a serious issue.
It is, and one way that we all know helps, we want to put emphasis on, is staying healthy physically, because it really helps mentally people to focus better, feel better, have a livelier life. Physical health of Cabrillo's college students is pretty good.
Yeah, some of the challenges facing students on a physical, well, first there's the mental health, but physically, students generally don't get enough sleep. Only 11% of students report having quality sleep. And other concerns are infectious diseases. There's a lot of classes with a lot of students, so people can get sick easily in college, and also there's STDs, which you can consult the school health center about if you have concerns, and weight problems, which we can address at the gym and the pool, and with the experts available to us. But the fifth and very concerning is alcohol and binge drinking among college students, which of course, is just awful. I mean, the amount of deaths and, that result in injuries. It was said that in a report in 2014 that 600,000 students every year suffer injuries just from being under the influence of alcohol. So, it's you have to watch your alcohol intake.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it could lead to dropping out of college completely.
Absolutely.
And become a major setback.
Absolutely. I would say, as I said, when I was a freshman in school the first time and I was 17 and my mother died, I began drinking heavily. And that's the only counseling I did at the time. But anyway, physical health is of the utmost importance now, especially as we're getting older, to stay in good physical health, because you'll feel it a lot older when you're older, you'll feel it a lot more if you didn't get in good shape,
There are some good resources on Cabrillo campus about nutritional advice. At the health center, there's people there every day that school's in session, willing to advise and help with knowing the right kinds of foods to eat that help you feel better. Mm-hmm. Would you say that money is a big issue?
Yeah, I think it's difficult for students to have healthy diets when they don't have a lot of money. Students are choosing constantly convenience and taste as the number one thing that they look for in their food choices. So it's hard for them to choose healthy foods when there's fast food right there, when there's unhealthy choices there that are a lot cheaper than a healthy option.
We're now going to watch a video about Cabrillo College students' diets. We're going to watch the video now.
It affects it a lot just because for me specifically, I have to work 2 jobs aside from being a full-time student, just because, growing up, being an adult, you have things to pay for, especially buying groceries, and things are expensive.
In life or at Cabrillo?
At Cabrillo, being a student here at Cabrillo, and in life in general.
In life, I'd say if it's more of a struggle, because it seems like when you buy organic and, free-range food and stuff, it's quite a bit more expensive. But here locally, they have an amazing salad bar.
I shop at grocery outlet because that's the cheapest place we can get groceries.
And can you get pretty healthy food there?
Yeah, we can get all the produce and stuff like that because I do actually eat my vegetables and stuff like that.
Oh, good.
A cup of noodles that I got with the last $1 that I had in my wallet.
In life or here?
In life.
Well, in general, we eat pretty healthy, so I try to prepare at the beginning of the week. The lowest, I'd probably $2.50-ish.
The most low-budget meal I've recently eaten, I'll be rice and chicken.
Depending on what I'm eating, especially, it either makes me feel really sluggish and not really focusing on working, especially when it comes to schoolwork, or if I'm actually eating something that's good and healthy, I feel a little bit more energized, and it helps me focus more on what I'm doing.
Probably the times that I eat. Cause like, you're supposed to eat like at certain times of the day. Mine is so whacked out because of being at school and being an athlete. Like, I usually don't get home till like 9 o'clock, and usually don't eat till like 9:30.
I haven't really been to the cafeteria. It's a little more out of my price range.
A pretty big salad would cost you around $3 or $4. It's not very expensive, and it's all really yummy, fresh stuff. The cafeteria right here, and then also they have a taco bar. So depending on how hungry you are, how many carbs you want, or whatever, they'll cater. You build it right there with the person. Generally, we have either a smoothie or a granola bar. Something kind of small, because my daughter and I get nauseous if we eat too much in the morning or have dairy. So it's usually like a granola bar or coffee, of course, and that's pretty much it. We usually eat more heavy around 10. And then you guys should sign up for the gym if you are a student, because it's free, and they also have swim for free. If you're registered at Cabrillo College, it is free, and this gym is amazing, and so is the pool.
It's a good idea to get up on the weekends and go running on the beach because it's really pretty and it will help strengthen your legs.
There was a lot of valid information in those clips. Those students were all very excited about eating healthy and staying fit and being athletic.
I like how that one guy said that, like his lowest priced meal was like chicken and rice. Like, that's a good combination. That's better than buying just a granola bar from the bookstore. There's so many options, especially like when you go to the cafeteria. You get to pick everything. So just the way that we watch ourselves and how we should eat, we should pay attention to that when we're in the cafeteria or in the bookstore, or really anywhere on Cabrillo.
And a lot of times we're looking for the most bang for our buck, something that we could get that will fill us up, tide us over, instead of putting nutrition first, which is really key.
I liked what the fellow said there about first thing in the morning, go for a run on the beach. And personally, I prefer a walk to a run because, the joints aren't what they used to be. But I've always been an advocate of the cheapest workout you can get, and how you don't pay a dime to open the door and just go for a walk around the neighborhood.
Right.
And, and you get to see what's going on in the neighborhood. And, you can't just do a treadmill and pay money for a gym and enjoy that. A walk is enjoyable is what I'm saying, and it's free, so you can't beat it.
And I mean, we're in Santa Cruz. There's so many places to go for a walk, and to take the city bus somewhere, just like go anywhere really. Traveling is a good way of just finding what's out there in the world and seeing what can help you, and just seeing new people and doing so many new things can just really help your mental health and physical health.
It can, and fresh air and people.
Yeah, for sure.
It's really wonderful. For example, if somebody only had $1 to spend on a snack, they could either buy a bag of chips for $1 or an apple. They're most likely going to feel a lot better from that apple. And that's obvious. We all know that. We should make sure we do it.
I think it is about choice. I mean, a lot of times the chips will look more appealing than the apple, and they're maybe a little bit more filling than the apple. But again, it's about choice. You have to choose that maybe the apple sometimes. You have to choose to go on a walk. You have to choose, I don't want to eat this cup of noodles now. I want to maybe have a salad later.
And there's a lot to be said for the amount of money that we have to spend on healthy food. Like the woman said, she had a cup of noodles, and that's really not a healthy choice.
No, and it was probably because it was the cheapest choice. I mean, so it could, I noticed that I eat out a lot at fast food places, and my bank account is just going down, down, down. And every time I look at my checking situation, I was like, oh my gosh, did I really eat there, and there? I just really need to go to the store, get some healthy food for the week, and just keep, I really need to budget for my food because it's that important. I mean, I need to budget for my car payment or whatever, and I need to budget for food. And I need to lower that budget quite a bit,
And there's also students with jobs and families and taking a lot of classes, plus they have to incorporate time for their social lives. Do you have a job? Yes. And school and social life?
Yeah, I mean, one of the tips is like my stepsister, she has a mom, and I mean, she has a son, and she is a mom, and she's also a vegan, so she likes to prepare everything at night and then just keep in the refrigerator and all that such, and that's just a great way of keeping it all together.
Yes, thank you all so much. I hope you've learned something new from this show that might help you in your quest for better, healthier life. I'd like also to thank the panelists for bringing forth valuable information for you all today, and the CTV crew for making it possible to do so. Thank you to our professor, Rachel Goodman, Journalism 35, and everyone involved in the production of this program. Thank you for watching.